So I'd like to call this meeting of the Finance Committee to order. I see that we have all committee members are here. Trustee Haveman and Mahaney and myself. I'd like to call on Gavin Leach at this point to talk about some continuation budgets that the Finance Committee needs to dispose of. So Gavin.
Thank you, Chair Young. First on the agenda, we have some continuation budgets as we haven't established tuition and fees for one. We do not know what our state appropriation is for two, and just uncertainty of as far as the final enrollment in the fall. So we're asking the Finance Committee to support the recommendation of continuation budgets for general, designated, and auxiliary and residence life funds. We would come to the committee at the September board meeting with the full recommendation for the year. Obviously, during the first 3 months, we wouldn't be spending a very large percentage of the budget anyway. So we're just putting this forward until September when we have more clarity on all of those factors for a full budget recommendation.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to move those 4 continuation budgets as proposed by Mr. Leach.
Is there support?
Support.
All those in favor, say aye.
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 Those opposed? Motion carries. The next item on the agenda is tuition and fees. And this is an issue that we've all been looking at and thinking about. And I think one of the things that in doing that we've realized is that this is like no other when it comes to tuition and having these discussions. So it's been a very interesting process. But I think the one thing, and there's really 2 things that we wanted to try and do in looking at this is to position this university for a post-COVID environment and to help maintain financial stability, but also to provide assistance to our students who I think are facing, students and families that are facing difficult economic times. And those considerations were paramount, I think, as we're looking at this. And before I turn it over to Gavin to give us a recommendation on tuition, I'd like to ask either Trustee Mahaney or Haveman if they have any comments before we get an explanation.
I have none.
I'll like to see Mr. Leach's presentation. I might have a few comments.
Okay. All right, Gavin, can you brief us on what you have?
Yeah, as you mentioned, the challenging times we're in and preparing campus for fall, as well as the uncertainty in state funding for the fall. We've come forward and we're recommending just a modest tuition increase for this fall and winter. The administration recommends the board approve the following tuition rate adjustments for fiscal 2021. Increase the average resident, non-resident undergraduate on-campus tuition and fee rates by $215 per semester. We also recommend we utilize university financial aid funds in fiscal 21 budget to provide emergency COVID-19 aid to help families reduce the actual increase bill by $100 that would produce an effective tuition rate of $115. And the aid that we would provide would be put automatically into the student's account. So there would be no application process for the university aid. So basically increase by $215, but provide emergency aid relief of $100 for a net of $115 charge to their account. We're also recommending that we create a $115 grant for eligible students using federal monies dedicated for COVID-19 disruption relief, which will be paid directly to the students. In addition, we recommend we adjust graduate tuition off campus courses, global campus, summer session, differential tuition, and other fees at the amounts on file with the Secretary of the Board. One final note is the administration will continue to look for ways to assist students should additional federal monies become available, and will present a recommendation no later than December 2020 to the Board of Trustees. That's the recommendation. And again, this, at this rate of $215, that would keep Northern second lowest in the state, as it has been for the past 17 years. That's a recommendation from the administration.
Thank you, Gavin. Committee members, any comments?
Mr. Chairman, I move that the Finance Committee recommend to the Board of Trustees that they approve the following tuition rate adjustments for fiscal year 2021. A, increase the average resident and non-resident undergraduate on-campus tuition and fees rate by $215 per semester. B, utilize its university financial aid funds in the fiscal year 2021 budget to provide emergency COVID-19 aid to help families and reduce the actual increase billed by $100 and produce an effective tuition and fee rate increase of $115 per semester. This aid should be automatically applied to the student account. C, create a $115 grant for eligible students using federal monies dedicated for COVID-19 disruption relief, which will be paid directly to the students. D, adjust graduate tuition, off-campus courses, global campus, summer session, differential tuition, and other fee rates at the amounts on file with the Secretary of the Board. And lastly, E, the administration will continue to look for ways to assist students should additional federal monies become available, and will present a recommendation no later than the December 2020 Board of Trustees meeting.
Chairman, I support that motion.
Okay, second, is there discussion on the motion?
I just would like to make a couple of comments. Number one, I want to thank Vice President Leach and the staff and everybody involved and all the work that has gone into studying the various financial challenges facing the university in light of the COVID crises. I think this plan is a very good plan. It allows us to offer our students, should they elect to apply the disruption relief funds, to have a net 0% tuition increase for at least the fall semester. And I'm very pleased that we're able to offer that to our students.
Trustee Haveman, any comments?
I support what we just said and leave it at that.
I would just add, I want to thank Gavin and for his work on this and bringing forward this recommendation. And also want to thank committee members, Mahaney and Haveman, for everything we've done and discussions we've had and looking at this. And I agree with what Trustee Mahaney says. I think this is a good proposal that recognizes or hits several bumpers, as I've said before, in terms of what we need to do to position the university moving forward in terms of tuition, but also recognizes those financial difficulties I think that people are facing all over the state, not just in state students, but all of our students. And so I do think it's a good proposal. And with that, I will call for a vote unless there's any further discussion. All those in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. There's no further business before the committee. I will adjourn it unless anybody has any last comments. Committee stands adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So we're done now till dinner at 5:30? Okay.